The death of George Floyd in Minneapolis sparked demonstrations, events, and tough conversations around the world. This month, we're giving area leaders and community activists an opportunity to share their voices. It's a campaign that Wish TV calls We Stand Together.
And tonight, as you very well know, Kylie, we're hearing from Maggie Lewis. She's a city county councilor and the CEO and executive director of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Indianapolis. She reflected on the recent events around the country and why change needs to take place.
It's obvious that Lewis is passionate about families and her community. In her role with the Boys and Girls Club, she's taking the organization to new heights. We spent some time with her on this particular morning at the Kennedy King Memorial, and though she had a packed schedule, she didn't pass up an opportunity to talk to a local resident of the district who was just passing by. It's one of her trademarks that sets her apart. And then she sat down with us and talked about many things. A global movement.
So I feel that Mr. Floyd's death has inspired a global movement. It's inspired us to have those challenging conversations about racism and race equality in our community, locally and nationally. He has really done that for us. And while we all know that racism is an issue in our community, he has set the foundation for us to truly roll up our sleeves and talk about racism and race equality.
His last breath.
I believe what makes this incident different is the entire world witnessed a human being, life being taken on social media, on these different platforms. We were there when he took his last breath, and it was hard for us to witness that. And then I'll take it one step further. If you're a mother, an auntie, a stepmom, when that young man called out to his mother, it hurt. We all felt that.
The struggle is real.
I've shared with many in our community that I have been struggling to understand this. Like, I'm a wife. I have a 13-year-old son, black boy, black male, and to think that that could have been my husband. That could have been my baby out there. And so it hurts. It hurts to have witnessed that. And I feel the pain of his family. While I'm not related in any way, shape, or form, to know that that could have been one of my loved ones, it has impacted me forever. And that visual is forever etched in my mind.
Speaking to my son.
While it's hard for me to have this conversation with my 13-year-old son, I know it's necessary. And unfortunately, this is not the first time that I've had this conversation with Leroy. We had this conversation about Trayvon Martin. My son marched. Last time he marched, he was here in Indianapolis marching with the community. And so it's unfortunate, but it's necessary. But I know, like, I have to prep my child to be prepared to deal with racism in this community, in this state, in this nation. We have to have those conversations with our kids, and it's unfortunate, and I feel guilty about it, but again, I have to do it.
Catalyst for change.
I believe that this will force us to have those conversations, to force us to implement different policies. I don't think that we get to turn a blind eye. We mean elected officials, different stakeholders, folks who have a voice at the table and those who don't have a voice at the table. Like, we don't get to turn a blind eye to this situation. Everyone witnessed what happened to Mr. Floyd.
The message.
One, important that we level set. We have to talk about where we are as a community. We have to agree that there is racism in this community. We have to agree that there is work to be done. Once we level set, we all have to agree to have those difficult conversations, regardless how uncomfortable those conversations become. We have to agree to have them and to continue to have them. And then also, I'm an elected official in this community, right? Hold me accountable and don't let me forget about this day and this commitment that I made to you to look at our policies and to do everything that I can to ensure that everyone is created and treated the same, right? Not created, but treated the same.
Commitment.
We have to commit, and I know that's a word that's used a lot, but we all have to commit. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for us who are in a place of change, that we leverage our power to implement policies and practice that's really going to move the needle on racism. Like, we have to stay committed to it. And if we let up, then shame on us. Shame on us.
Our We Stand Together series will continue to air all this week on News 8 at 10 o'clock. You can also see all of our profiles online at wishtv.com.